Welcome to the Hope for Today podcast. Today is day 17.
And here we are. It feels like we've been on this long journey, and we've finally reached the end of the book.
We really have. This is it, the finale of Genesis. I mean, we've walked through creation, the fall, the flood, Abraham, Isaac, and now we're closing the book on Jacob and Joseph.
It really is the end of an era. We're in chapters 48, 49, and 50, and you can feel the tone shift. We're moving away from, Joseph running Egypt and into these very personal, very intimate final moments.
Exactly. We're talking about legacies, deathbed blessings, and how faith finishes. And you might think, oh, a couple of chapters about funerals might be a downer, but there is so much hope here.
So much.
Yeah.
We're going to see one of the most surprising blessings in the whole book, some incredibly sharp prophecies, and maybe the clearest statement on God's sovereignty over evil in the entire Old Testament.
It's all about how God weaves even our failures into his plan. So let's start in chapter 48, Jacob's bedside.
Okay, so the scene is set. Jacob is old, he's sick, he knows the end is near. Joseph hears about it, and he rushes to his father's side.
But he doesn't go alone. He brings his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim.
And you have to remember who these boys are. I mean, they were born in Egypt, their mother's Egyptian, they've grown up in Pharaoh's court. They're basically Egyptian princes.
Right. They probably don't even look like their Hebrew cousins. But Jacob, he rallies, he sits up in bed, recounts God's promises, and then he drops a bombshell.
He really does. It's a huge legal move. He looks at Joseph and he says, "Your two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, will be mine, just as Reuben and Simeon are mine."
So wait, he's not just saying, I love my grandkids. This is a formal thing.
This is a formal adoption. He is elevating his grandsons to the status of his own sons. He's making them heads of their own tribes right alongside his own kids.
Why? What's the point of that?
It's about the inheritance. By doing this, Jacob gives Joseph a double portion. Joseph now gets 2 shares of the future land of Israel, one for Ephraim and one for Manasseh.
And that double portion, that's for the firstborn, right?
It is. So Jacob is intentionally bypassing Reuben, the actual firstborn who failed, and giving that firstborn blessing to Joseph, the son he loved most, through his boys.
Okay, that's already a big deal, but the real drama happens when he actually goes to bless them. The scene is so visual.
It is. Joseph is a man of order. He knows the protocol. He brings Manasseh, the older son, and places him at Jacob's right hand.
The hand of honor and strength.
Exactly. And Ephraim, the younger, goes to the left. It's all set up perfectly. Simple.
And Jacob he goes rogue.
He crosses his arms. Deliberately, he stretches his right hand across his body and places it on the head of the younger boy, Ephraim. And his left hand goes on the older one.
And Joseph sees this and the text says he's displeased. He thinks his dad is confused.
Right. He thinks it's a mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, Jacob's eyesight is failing, just like Isaac's was. So Joseph actually tries to physically move his father's hands. He says, "No, father, this one is the firstborn."
And Jacob's reply, it's just so powerful. He says, I know, my son, I know.
That "I know" says everything. This isn't senility. This is prophecy. He's fully aware of what he's doing. He declares that Ephraim, the younger, will become greater than his older brother.
This feels like a pattern we've seen before. Abel over Cain, Isaac over Ishmael, Jacob over Esau. Why does God keep doing this?
You're right. It's the heartbeat of Genesis. God is constantly showing that his choices, his blessings, are not bound by human traditions like birth order.
So it's not about being first or strongest.
It's about sovereign grace. It's God saying, my blessing is a gift, not a right. He delights in choosing the unexpected, the younger, the weaker, to accomplish his purposes. It's the gospel right there.
It is. Okay, so after this intense private moment, the scene widens. Chapter 49, Jacob calls all 12 of his sons to his bedside.
Yeah, this is the final address. And it's not all sweet goodbyes. He tells them he's going to reveal what will happen to them in days to come.
And he starts with Reuben, the firstborn. Ouch. He calls him turbulent as waters.
He had all the potential. But Jacob brings up his great moral failure, sleeping with his father's concubine. Because of that instability, he loses the preeminence.
And Simeon and Levi, he doesn't hold back there either. He calls out their violence at Shechem.
He does. He says their anger is cursed and prophesies they'll be scattered in Israel. And that's exactly what happens. Simeon's tribe gets absorbed by Judah, and Levi becomes the priestly tribe spread all over.
So the first 3 sons are, in a way, disqualified from leadership. So that brings us the 4th son, Judah.
And this is where everything pivots. Judah's past isn't perfect, we know that, but we've also seen him repent, we've seen him change, and the blessing he receives here is Well, it's monumental.
Jacob says, the scepter will not depart from Judah. That's kingship.
That's exactly what it is. The scepter, the ruler's staff. Jacob is prophesying that the royal line of Israel will come from Judah, and it gets even bigger. He says to him will be the obedience of the nations.
Nations, plural, not just Israel.
Plural. This is pointing to something far beyond a local king. This is a messianic prophecy. This is the Lion of the tribe of Judah. This is pointing to Jesus.
Wow. And then what about Joseph? His blessing is also beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous. He's a fruitful vine. But Jacob doesn't ignore the pain. He says archers attacked him, which is such a vivid picture of the betrayal he suffered.
But he says his strength came from the mighty one of Jacob, the shepherd, the rock of Israel.
That's the first time in the Bible God is called a shepherd. Jacob, the shepherd, recognizes the true shepherd who protected his son.
Amazing. Okay, so the blessings finish. Jacob gives his final instructions about his burial, and then he breathes his last.
And chapter 50 opens with this incredible funeral procession. I mean, Joseph arranges for a full Egyptian embalming, and all of Egypt mourns Jacob for 70 days.
70 days? That's almost a royal funeral.
It is. It shows the immense respect they had for Joseph. Pharaoh sends a huge caravan, chariots, horsemen, officials, all the way back to Canaan to bury Jacob in the family tomb.
In the cave of Machpelah, with Abraham and Isaac, he insisted on it.
It was a statement of faith. Egypt saved them, but Canaan was the promised home.
But after the funeral, when they're all back in Egypt, the mood just sours. The brothers start to panic.
The paranoia kicks in. They start saying to each other, what if Joseph was just being nice for Dad's sake? What if he holds a grudge?
It's so sad. After all those years of being provided for, they still don't trust his heart. Their guilt is still blinding them.
It is. So they invent a lie. They send a message saying Jacob's dying wish was for Joseph to forgive them. And they all come and fall down before him, offering to be his slaves.
And what does Joseph do? He doesn't get angry, he weeps.
Yeah, I think it just breaks his heart. They still don't get it. They don't understand grace. But then, out of that grief, he says maybe the most important words in the entire book.
He starts with, am I in the place of God?
Yes. He refuses to be their judge. And then he says it. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives.
Let's just sit with that. You intended to harm me. He doesn't sugarcoat their sin.
Not at all. He validates that what they did was evil. Their intent was malicious. But God intended it for good. He was working a bigger plan through their evil plan. This is the doctrine of providence in a single sentence. Humans are responsible for their choices.
But God is sovereign over them, repurposing even the worst things for his redemptive goals, the saving of many lives.
That's it. This is the truth that undergirds all of history. And it should give us immense hope when we walk through our own dark valleys. God is always working for good.
He then reassures them, speaks kindly to them. It's just a beautiful picture of forgiveness.
It really is. So the story fast forwards. Joseph lives to be 110. He sees his great-grandchildren, and then his own time comes.
And like his father, his final thoughts are not on Egypt, but on the promise.
He makes the sons of Israel swear an oath. He says God will surely come to your aid, and then he gives them one command.
Carry my bones up from this place.
Think about that. The prince of Egypt, second only to Pharaoh. He could have had a pyramid. He could have been immortalized as an Egyptian hero.
But he didn't want that. He identified as a Hebrew, as an heir of the promise.
Exactly. He knew Egypt wasn't home. So the book of Genesis ends with this really poignant image. He was placed in a coffin in Egypt.
A coffin in Egypt? It feels like such a cliffhanger.
It's meant to be. That coffin sat there for hundreds of years as a silent promise, a reminder to the Israelites. We are not staying here. Our story isn't over. We're waiting for the Exodus.
What a perfect setup for the next part of the story. It ends not with closure, but with forward-looking hope.
That's the heart of God we see in these chapters. A God of sovereign grace who rules over all history and who specializes in turning what was meant for evil into the salvation of many.
And that's a truth we can hold on to, knowing that no matter what we face, God's ultimate intention for his people is always for good.
Always. We can trust that, even when the story doesn't make sense yet.
An incredible end to an incredible book. And that was it for day 17. Meet you on day 18 tomorrow.